la la. What's happening, everybody? Friday, October 31st, 2025. Happy Halloween, everybody. How's everybody doing on Halloween? I am not dressed up like some of the other hosts were. I just don't do that. It's not really my thing. But we're going to talk about Halloween because I do enjoy it. I do enjoy Halloween. One of my, a fun holiday when we were a kid. We're also going to get to the news today because Democrats, in the spirit of Halloween, are absolute and complete and utter clowns. Absolute, complete, and utter clowns. We're going to show you the craziest one out of all of them. Some chick none of you have ever heard of named Kat, and I can't pronounce her last name, from Chicago. From the Chicago area. Also, Donald Trump suggests a terrible idea, an awful idea, a very, very bad idea. We're gonna go into that. Kash Patel thwarts a terrorist plot, and Jake Tapper has stumbled upon something. Jake Tapper has stumbled upon a new bit of information. But before we get started, guys, do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. We are rocking. We are rolling. Let's talk about Halloween real quick because I got to tell you, Halloween is one of those holidays that really brings you back, to when you were a kid. And we tore the place up. We tore the place up when we were kids. That's just kind of what we did. I remember being a kid and them not letting you buy eggs or shaving cream the day before Halloween because they knew that people like us were going to tear up the neighborhood. We were animals. We were absolute, genuine animals. With that being said, every Halloween, certain things end up happening. Number one, to all of the parents out there who will be welcoming trick-or-treaters in the coming hours, do me a favor, okay? Don't buy the crap candy, okay? Don't do that. Don't give out the circus peanuts, the crappy candy. Go get the good stuff, okay? The Snickers, the Twix, the Reese's, the good stuff. Don't be that house that gives out a sack of pennies, okay? Don't be that house because you're gonna end up getting egged. Don't be that house. Go get the good stuff, and don't be a dick about it. Let the kids have some fun. With that being said. Dress up as whatever you want. Before we do that, chat, let me see. What candy did you like to get on Halloween? Let's get the chat involved here. I'm curious. What was your favorite candy that you guys liked? I'm curious to see what we're coming up with here. With all that being said, dress up however you want. If you want to go out dressed like a hooker, have a good time. You want to be an Indian? You want to be anything offensive? You want to be a hobo? You want to be homeless? Whatever. You want to be drunk? I know that's what I'll be in a couple hours. Whatever the hell it is you want to be, today you are free to do so. And if anyone gives you crap for it, tell them to grow up, okay? Tell them to grow up. You want to go out, let the girls fly, have a good time, all right? You want to be a sexy nurse? Feel free. Feel free. By the way, anyone who wants to be that, just know I'll be at Napper Tandy's tonight in Smithtown, starting at 7 o'clock. So for anyone who wants to dress up half naked, just know I'll be at Napper Tandy's in Smithtown, 7 o'clock. Once again, that would be 7 o'clock at Napper Tandy's in Smithtown. So do whatever the hell you want. Have a good time. For all the nannies that are out there that find outfits offensive or you can't dress like that, it's culturally appropriated. Anyone who's doing things like that, maybe just for one day, don't be a gigantic asshole and let people do whatever the hell they're going to do. Do whatever the hell you're going to do. Marie Gruick, she'll be there. So, she'll be there. Don't worry. Do whatever the hell it is you want to do, okay? Have fun, be festive, be drunk, don't drive, get an Uber. Let's be smart here. Nobody be silly. Nobody be silly. Pantera said Kevin's going to get white girl wasted. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Absolutely, I am. Because I'm going to see a punk rock band that plays all music from the early 2000s. So I will be bringing out my teenage self, and I'm sure tomorrow, thank God, there isn't a show, because I would be living in Struggle City. So be it. What are you going to do? let's get into the news, guys. There's my public service announcement. Don't drink and drive. Be smart. You know, don't do that. Don't do that. What are we doing here? Who's tagging me in things? Yeah. Everybody be smart tonight. So let's talk about clownish Democrats, shall we? Because there are so many abound. There are so many. However, there is one in particular that I want to make sure that I get to. There's one I meant to talk about her yesterday, but I didn't get the chance to do so. Her name is Kat. You know what? I'm going to put it up on the screen because I can't say this girl's name. And once again, I'm not being a dick. I just can't say it. Here's her name. I don't know what that is. Abu Azella. There's not a chance that's how you pronounce it. That's not a chance that's how you pronounce that woman's name. Whatever. She's insane. She decided that it would be a good idea to interfere with ICE trucks, with ICE vehicles carrying out federal laws. She then found herself indicted by the feds for the violent ICE protests in the Chicago suburbs. We're going to go over the story, then I'll show you what she did. Federal prosecutors have indicted a congressional candidate and former Media Matters activist, can't say her last name, Cook County Board candidate Catherine Sharp, and the Democratic committeeman Michael Rabbitt over their alleged involvement in the September 26th Broadview ICE protest, where agitators surrounded and attacked a federal vehicle. Now, I'm going to show you what she did. Because, look, I'll be honest with you. What she did, not the end of the world. I don't think she deserves to go to prison for the rest of her life for this little stunt. Here she is, the little blonde chick, right in the front, boom, right in the front, right there, blocking an ICE vehicle. They're trying to do their job. She impeded it. That's a crime. I don't think she should be in jail for the rest of her life for that. But I want to be very clear. This is a crime. Let's make this a little smaller. That's a crime. You can't do that. And she has been indicted for it. She's also been indicted because she decided to get in the way of more ICE vehicles and then got thrown across the street. That's a shame. That's a shame. Matter of fact, it's such a shame we should watch it one more time. Maybe if you had a little more protein in your diet, sweetheart, maybe that wouldn't have happened. But she has been indicted for getting in the way of ICE doing their job. So she decided, like most Democrats do, she decided to go on the internet and complain about it.
My name is Kat Abou-Ghazaleh. I'm running for Congress in the 9th District of Illinois. And the Department of Justice is charging 6 people, including myself, with federal crimes for exercising our First Amendment rights near ICE's Broadview Processing Center. This is a political prosecution and a gross attempt to silence dissent, a right protected under the First Amendment. This case is a major push by the Trump administration to criminalize protest and punish anyone who speaks out against them. That's why I'm going to fight these unjust charges, but I need your help to do it. As I and others have exercised our First Amendment rights, ICE has hit, dragged, thrown, shot with pepper balls, and tear gassed hundreds of protesters, simply because we had the gall to say that masked men coming into our communities, abducting our neighbors, and terrorizing us cannot be our new normal. And because Chicago doesn't back down from bullies in masks who tear gas our neighborhoods, this administration has resorted to weaponizing the federal justice system to scare us into silence. But we're not going to be silent.
You're not going to be silenced. You're not going to be silenced. Okay, well, a couple of things. First off, Chicago isn't your neighborhood, honey. You're from Texas. That's not really the point here. That's not really the point. She says very fervently, and she's strong, that she's going to stand up to ICE, and she's going to stop them from doing all the nasty, awful things that they're doing. All right, I mean, look, Do I think that I should be throwing people to the... No, probably not. All right, maybe you got tossed around a little bit. So have a little lawsuit and then you'll be done, sweetheart. But it's time to remember that Democrats are not always sending their best. Democrats are not sending their best. Here is this Democratic candidate dressed like a hooker sitting on top of a bar. Now, I want to be clear. I do not have a problem with this at all. Young kid having a good time, whatever. I am but holding Democrats to their very ridiculous standard that they hold the rest of the world to. I actually don't I actually don't really care about that. Some people may. Some people would say that's probably not the best look for a member of Congress. Whatever. I mean, you might be right. You might be right. People do things in the past, they come back, they're ready to do this, then I got the pictures, whatever. Let's move on. But when you put up a TikTok video about how you're fighting back against ICE, and then you get interviewed by some run-of-the-mill liberal journalist, you can't then walk out of the interview when you don't like the questioning.
The indictment alleges that you and others, quote, surrounded a federal officer's vehicle, banged on its hood and windows, etched pig on the side, and impeded movement. Did you etch the word pig on the side of an officer's car?
I'm not speaking to the specifics of anything that's in the indictment right now, but like I said, I do plan on pleading not guilty, and the evidence will come out in court, and I plan on winning.
Okay. Well, let's watch the video of what happened that day that they are. What do you, when you see that, what do you think right now?
Tara, once again, this is my first time being federally indicted. Like I said, I plan on pleading not guilty. The evidence will come out in court, and I plan on winning. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Just really quickly, I did want to ask you about just the fact that conspiracy to impede an officer is up to 6 years in prison, forcibly impeding and intimidating an officer is up to 8 years. Is that that could actually hinder your ability to serve in Congress? Are you concerned about that? Did she just sign off? Did she just leave the chat? I'm so confused. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, honey. If you can't handle an interview with Tara Palmieri, you're not going to win your federal indictment. You're also not going to be able to be in Congress. All Tara Palmieri did, and I've seen her stuff before, she's your run-of-the-mill milquetoast journalist, not really she's not diving in deep. All she did was show the video clip, and this chick couldn't handle it, where she had to sign off of the interview. Oh yeah, you're real tough, hun. You're real tough. These people are insane. And I'm sure, judging by how she handled that interview, I have no doubt that that chick will one day be the Democratic nominee for president. I have no doubt in my mind. Milquetoast, boring, not a hard-hitting interview at all. All she did was show the clip of what this chick did, which apparently she had the balls enough to do out on the streets, but didn't want people to see it. Now, this is, I love this, because and I'm not being rude to Tara here, if she had just stayed on the interview, no one would have seen that clip. Tara Palmieri doesn't have that big of a show that the whole world was tuning in on it, but because that ended up happening, now the world gets to see it. The classic example of the Streisand effect. The classic example of people who draw more attention and more controversy to themselves by thinking in the short term. For those of you who don't know what the Streisand effect is, it's magical. So I'll give you a little history on this. Obviously, it's named for Barbara Streisand. So Barbara Streisand, you know, our political betters. She's better than you and I. She just is. Some photojournalist took a photo of Barbara Streisand's house from the sky in a drone or whatever. And Barbara Streisand, being a very private person, did not want that photograph to be published in this complete no-name magazine. It was then published. Because she sued this person who took the photograph, now everyone saw the photo. If she had just shut up about it, the photograph would have went into a magazine that nobody reads and nobody would have seen it. But then she decided to make a bigger deal out of it than it really was, and then everyone ended up seeing the photograph in the lawsuit because the lawsuit got reported about the magazine that nobody read. So this chick, Kat, whatever the hell her name is, I'm not being rude. I really have no idea how to pronounce this girl's name, and, you know, I gotta be honest with you. I'm really not taking the time to learn it. I'm really not. Anyone who works for Media Matters is not worth my time. However, these are the caliber of people. These are the caliber of people out there that the Democrats are going to put forth in districts all over the country, particularly after Zorhan wins on Tuesday. They're going to be bolder. They're going to be confident. The money's going to flood in. And they're going to run lunatics like that woman, cowards like that woman, all over the country. It's coming to a city near you. It's coming to a city very near you. People who have no problem with actual extremism, but would smile at your death. Now, let's give a roundabout example here. Let's say that there was, I don't know, a Democratic rep with a giant Nazi tattoo. You would think they would call that out. Let's say that there was a Democratic Attorney General candidate who hoped and prayed that his Republican opponent's children would die in their mother's arms. One would think they would call that out. No. They're not going to do that. One would think they would make a bigger deal over, I don't know, a radical Islamic terror plot that was thwarted in, go figure, Dearborn, Michigan. Dearborn, Michigan. Can't imagine why it happened in that area. Can't imagine why. You would think Democrats would call that sort of thing out, but of course, silence.
Program for a breaking news alert from 7 News Detroit.
Right now, investigations are underway in at least 2 Metro Detroit cities after the head of the FBI announced that the agency thwarted a terror attack this morning in Michigan. FBI Director Kash Patel posting on social media earlier today saying multiple people were arrested this morning and claims they were plotting an attack over holiday weekend. Now, he did not say exactly where or when this attack would have taken place, but the Michigan FBI field office confirms with 7 News Detroit that the agents were in Dearborn and Inkster this morning, conducting what they're calling, quote, law enforcement activities. Now, they did not say what they were doing in those cities or give any details on any arrests. But we do have 7 News Detroit's Ryan Marshall, who is on Hogger Street, not far from Fordson High School in Dearborn. That's where the FBI tells us one of the raids happened this morning. Ryan, we know you've been on the scene for hours now. What can you tell us?
Well, good morning, Kiera. Yeah, we're here on the scene right now of where the FBI has raided this home near Fordson High School in Dearborn. Just moments ago, they took out what looked like, I don't know what it was, but it certainly looked to be some sort of computer component. They placed it in a car. There's the FBI evidence response team that came in and took something out of the house. Right now, they are currently in that home. It's unclear what in fact they are actually doing. I'm going to step out of the scene here for just a second here. FBI Director Kash Patel posted on social media earlier this morning that the agency has thwarted a potential terrorist attack and arrested multiple people who were allegedly plotting a violent attack over Halloween weekend. Now, the evidence response team is here from the FBI. The Michigan State Police Emergency Support Team also here, but it's unclear their involvement in this investigation. Now, the FBI hasn't released any additional details into when this raid actually happened, when and how specifically they believe the attack was going to go down, where it was going to take place, who specifically was involved in the planning of the attack, and who was being targeted. They've been inside this house all morning. We even saw them escort a woman out of the house not too long ago, maybe about 45 minutes ago or so. Now, we know, Kiara, that today is Halloween and thousands of people across the region will be on the streets trick-or-treating tonight. We're hoping to learn more from the FBI. One additional thing to note, that Dearborn police told 7 News Detroit they were not made aware of this FBI conducted operations ahead of time, and they were not involved in any of the investigations. Certainly still a very fluid and active scene. As we get more information, we'll get it to you on air and online. But for now, I'm Ryan Marshall reporting live here in Dearborn near Fordson High School. We'll send it back to you, Kiara.
Yeah, absolutely. Still a very active scene. We can see one of the agents coming out of the home right now. Ryan, we appreciate that report. We have team coverage for you today. We also have 7 News Detroit's Tierra Braddock, who is on the scene of what we're told was another raid in Dearborn. This one was at Middle Point Street, which is near Tyerman Avenue. So, Tierra, tell us what you're seeing there.
Yes, hello, Kiera. Yeah, we're on the scene right now. Now you can see the Michigan State Patrol car right behind me. Now I did see some people with FBI vests going inside that garage right there in that home. Now it looks to be they're focused on the home where that Michigan State police car is stationed right in front. Now I did speak to a neighbor who said that at around 4:30 in the morning, her husband heard a couple loud bangs, and when they got out, they saw a lot of police presence earlier this morning. And as you can see, they are still out here. Now we're still trying to piece together exactly what they're doing at this home. We have been
Wonder what they're doing at that home. They've thwarted a terrorist attack in Dearborn, Michigan. They've thwarted a terrorist attack in Dearborn, Michigan. Need I remind everybody about the potential new logo for the Dearborn Police? I'll just let you guys figure out what the hell that says. I don't think you need to be told which member of Congress represents Dearborn, Michigan. But, you know, you guys can figure that out on your own. You guys can figure that one out on your own. I mean, I don't know, you know. Very nice, very nice. Plotting a terrorist attack on Halloween night. When kids are out trick-or-treating and enjoying themselves. Halloween, nice little American tradition. Little kids dressed up as cats or whatever the hell it is that kids do. Terrorist attack. Dearborn, Michigan. I'm not shocked. Hey, what the hell do I know? What the hell do I know? I'm just one of those waspy people that gets blamed for everything. What are you going to do? In just a second, we're going to get to more news of the day because the Democrats are in absolute turmoil right now all over the country as millions of Americans are threatened to be starved to death so that Democrats can win an election. We'll get to that in 1 second. Before we do, here's Jeremy.
Hey, everybody. How you doing? Well, it's that time of year again, isn't it? My favorite time of year, fall. Oh, I love the leaves. I love the autumn smell. I love the pumpkins. I love it all right before the snow flies. But what I don't love that comes with the cold weather and the fall weather is the flu, are the sniffles, the cold, all those common cold sniffles that you get every year. And if you have kids in the house, little kids going to and fro school, and they're coming back and they're touching everything and they're bringing the bacteria and all those viruses home from school, you don't want anything to do with that. You want to be proactive rather than reactive. That's why we're going to talk about propolis today. You know what propolis is? Well, ladies and gentlemen, propolis is what works as a barrier to keep the beehive absolutely safe. And what am I talking about? Well, Beekeepers Naturals. Now, my wife really turned me on to this. This is an endorsement of my wife and then myself as well. Beekeepers Naturals, folks. That is exactly what this is. This is a proactive rather than a reactive, all natural, all clean alternative to big food and big pharma. You've got your Beekeepers vitamin C packs, which are perfect for on the go, right? You've got your Beekeepers Propolis nasal spray. A few shots up the nose, clears out your nostrils, cleans any congestion that you have, and it's all natural, and it's going to work as a proactive barrier to any of that unwanted bacteria getting in. How about the Beekeepers all natural Propolis immune throat spray? 3 or 4 pumps of that a day, and anything that you're breathing in is going to be either repelled or killed right away. That's the amazing thing about Propolis, and that is the amazing thing about Beekeepers Naturals. And I got a 20% discount for you. What's better than that? 20% discount. Look, you can even get the throat soothing pops and the kids' prebiotic fiber pops, along with the throat spray, along with the nasal spray, along with the vitamin C packs. Folks, they've got it all, and it's an all-natural, clean, beautiful option for you to have in order to, get away from the big food, get away from the big pharma, and go more natural, especially with a 20% discount. How can you not go to Beekeepers Naturals today /LFA and get your 20% discount? Clean out your medicine cabinet today with beekeepers.com/LFA. And now back to the show.
Oh, before we move on, we got a quick update about the unknown terrorist plot in Dearborn, Michigan. Turns out NBC News has reported that sources familiar with the investigation said that there were 5 people taken into custody in Dearborn, Michigan, as well as in Inkstar, Michigan, and recovered weapons. Those that were taken into custody had discussed carrying out some type of terrorist attack around Halloween, something they referred to as the Pumpkin Day, officials said. The plan was connected to ISIS. Ah, yes. Shocker. ISIS in Dearborn, Michigan. No one should be shocked by that. According to the Detroit Free Press in Dearborn, Michigan, around 4 a.m. Friday, there were loud noises heard from the neighbors on Middle Point Street near the intersection of Tierman and Wyoming Avenues. One woman told the outlet that after her husband let the dog out at around 4 o'clock in the 4:30, at around 4 a.m., 30 minutes later, they heard a loud bang followed by several loud noises. When they looked outside, SWAT and FBI officers were present. Holly Kemp, 36, told the outlet that the home where the developments had taken place had seen 2 men move in over the summer. Ah, very nice. Another couple in the neighborhood spoke to the press about what they witnessed. They said that they sounded like 6 gunshots around 6 a.m. The home where the incident took place, the witness said, sometimes would have men pulling up in a truck and entering through the side door. You don't see them out at all. All right, well, that's, some people are loners. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer posted on X this morning, I was briefed by FBI Director Kash Patel on a thwarted terrorist attack in our state. As details continue to develop, I'm grateful for the swift action, blah, blah, blah. Right, okay. An ISIS attack. Here we go. Nice. They're very nice. Very nice. 2013 called. They want their terrorists back. I guess ISIS gave up on the caliphate and just moved into Michigan. As one does. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but it's actually a natural migration pattern from Syria into Michigan. Or maybe something is attracting them to this one town that no one had ever heard of up until like 10 years ago. Something may have attracted them there. I can't imagine what that would be. Can't imagine it. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So we got ISIS in Michigan. That's lovely. I mean, I know that when I lived in the Middle East. I never lived in the Middle East. But I have to assume that if I lived in a place my entire life that was really, really, really hot, I wouldn't naturally migrate to a place that's brick shithouse cold half of the year. Unless, of course, there was something attracting me to that particular area. Can't imagine what that would be. Can't imagine what that would be. But moving on, because we do have to get to the government shutdown. And I want to be clear, this is one of those times where we continue to prove that we are not a cult. Why? Because President Trump suggested something that's an awful, awful idea. Donald Trump suggested getting rid of the filibuster in order to reopen the government. This is a terrible idea. This is a very, very bad idea. Let's think about bad ideas and put this one at the very top of it. Why? Because we have to imagine what a world would be like when Democrats are in power. Because whether we like it or not, it's going to happen again at some point. And that's why we shouldn't willy-nilly be changing rules, procedural rules, in the Senate in order to get our way. I want the government to reopen too, and I want poor Americans to be able to provide for their families, but I don't think that we should alter the rules of the Senate in order to do so. Why? We're going to go into the way back machine, okay? 2011, Barack Obama, President of the United States, cannot get his judiciary picks through the Senate. Because at the time, every judiciary pick needed 60 votes. Needed 60 votes, just like the budget. Harry Reid, the Senate Majority Leader, I believe he was a Majority Leader at the time. Harry Reid, the Senate Majority Leader at the time, decided to get rid of the judicial filibuster, to have a straight up and down vote on getting rid of that 60 vote threshold in order to get Obama's picks through. And Mitch McConnell, that angry little turtle, stood on the floor of the Senate and said, "You will regret the day that you did this, because Republicans will be in power again." Now, at the time when Barack Obama was president and Democrats held both houses of Congress, guys, we've got the coalition of the ascendant. We're never going to lose again. We got Barack Obama. We got everything. We got Nancy. We got Harry. We're ready to go. We're creating a majority-minority country, and they're going to vote for us until the end of time. We know that. So there's no reason for us to even keep this archaic rule in place in order to get judicial picks in. Mitch McConnell, the angry little turtle that he was back in the day, now he's a sleepy turtle, told Harry Reid, "Do not do this, because it will be used against you at some point." Mitch McConnell, for his current lack of wisdom at the time, was lucid enough to understand that Republicans will be in power once again. And when he had that opportunity, he rammed through Supreme Court justices. Now, I love the Supreme Court justice picks. I love Gorsuch and I love Kavanaugh. Amy Coney Barrett is okay. But now we've got the Trump court for the next 40 years. I'm sure if Harry Reid were still alive and you asked him whether or not he wanted to do that, he would probably regret his decision. Why? Because he thought in the short term, not in the long term. So getting rid of the filibuster is a terrible idea. See? I just went on a 5-minute rant about how I disagree with the president, and Mike Johnson did the exact same thing.
I know in the past you've been reluctant to encourage your Senate colleagues to do that or not. Are you aligned with the president now that it's time for him to take this dramatic step to reopen the government?
I haven't. The president's been very busy. He was in, Asia doing all these trade agreements. I've been a little busy, as you know. We haven't spoken since he returned. I sent him a text earlier this morning. I saw that as well. What you're seeing is an expression of the president's anger at the situation. He is as angry as I am and the American people are about this madness. And he just desperately wants the government to be reopened so that all these resources can flow to the people who need it so much. Look, I'll just say this in general. As I've said many times about the filibuster, it's not my call. I don't have a say in this. It's a Senate chamber issue. We don't have that in the House, as you know. But the filibuster has traditionally been viewed as a very important safeguard. If the shoe was on the other foot, I don't think our team would like it. The Democrats, look, they've said what they would do. They would pack the Supreme Court. They would make Puerto Rico and D.C. states. They would ban firearms. They would do all sorts of things that would be very harmful for the country. And the safeguard in the Senate has always been the filibuster. But again, not my issue, not something I get to even weigh in on. My opinion on this is not relevant. It's the senators. But I think that it just is another expression of the frustration, of the pressure that is being felt, the anger by the president and by me and all of us that we're in this situation at all. Do your basic job. I'm going to say this again. We have put zero Republican policy priorities on the CR. It is Biden-level policies and spending. They have no excuse at all not to support it. They have no excuse to put all this pain on the American people, except that for what we've just articulated and repeated here every day, they want to give a showing to the radical left fringes of their base, and they want to give illegal benefits or benefits back to illegal aliens and non-citizens and all the other crazy stuff that they've claimed. Yeah.
Can I respond?
Sure.
I just very quickly, I have not spoken to the president either since last night, but let me say this. He is, and I've been next to him for almost 9 or 10 years now. He is so resolutely focused on delivering for the American people all day, every day, 7 days a week, 20 hours a day. This is what he is thinking about. And as the world's greatest deal maker, from his perspective, the way he thinks out of the box as a businessman is how do we end this nonsense, and how do we again open the government, and how do we support these families that need support.
And look, I can agree with President Trump on his policies and his tact and the way he does things. And I can also understand that he's incredibly frustrated over this shutdown. Now, I think it's fairly obvious to anyone who understands politics, who understands the way Democrats really operate, that Democrats are only doing this, they're only keeping the government shut down so that they can inflict as much maximum pain on the people of the capital region. Obviously, this is impacting those people more than anyone else. If you live in Northern Virginia, if you live in Maryland, you're going to be impacted not only by the cuts in SNAP and the government shutdown and not getting your paycheck if you're a federal worker, but let's remember how many people got laid off by DOGE. Democrats are doing this to win the governor's race in Virginia. There's no other way, there's no other reason why they would do this. If someone can come up with a reason, please do let me know. But this seems fairly obvious to any person who is politically astute enough to understand that there is an election in 4 days. And if you haven't gotten out and voted yet, do that now. I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. Get out and vote, particularly in your local elections. This way you can get involved with other campaigns. If you don't like what's happening, what you got to do is show videos like this one to your friends. Why? Because we're actually going to show you people like John Fetterman coming out and saying the obvious part out loud, nuking Chuck Schumer.
So what are you hearing back home about SNAP expiring on Saturday?
I'm saying that I will witness it firsthand. My wife, Giselle, she develops the free store in our community, and it distributes food 3 times a week. And her lines have already got longer. And now I will encounter people that have no SNAP benefits starting on Saturday, and I don't have an explanation for them. All I could say is, I'm sorry. It's an absolute failure what occurred here for the last month, and now things are really going to land. And imagine being a parent with a couple kids and how you're going to fill their refrigerator and pack their lunches and get on with their lives when the things that they've depended on now is gone because we can't even agree to just open things up. For a Democrat, we're not allowed to just open this up. I mean, then our party has bigger problems than I thought we might have already. It's like, that's not controversial. Pay everybody. And you have our workers here borrowed over $350 million to pay their own bills. Like, it's a failure. And like I said, to all of the viewers, I'm apologizing that we can't even get our shit together and just open up our government.
Schumer said this gets better politically every day for Democrats. What do you say to that?
Yeah, well, ask the hungry people on Saturday. You know, it's like, that's the thing. You know, Americans are not leveraged. This is not some shitty game show about who's winning or whatever. It's just like we have to be better than this and just open this up. And I do, you know, talk to any number of Republicans who they agree that we have this conversation about extending these tax credits.
I tell you what, man, I'm liking John Fetterman more and more every day. And if nothing else, he's hilarious. If nothing else, he's absolutely hilarious, and I appreciate a good laugh. You know, he's one of, I feel like Fetterman's one of those people that I think is wrong about things, but I would definitely love to hang out with. He's definitely like a giant goofball. But regular people are starting to notice. Regular people are starting to notice that this Democratic Party has jumped the shark. Before we get to that, guys, do me a favor and hit that like button wherever it is you may be watching from. Share this show with your friends. That's the best way to help grow the audience. We like to have a little bit of fun on this show for all the new viewers. Make sure you're following the page wherever it is you are watching from. If you're watching on Facebook, do me a favor. Hit that little @ button. Tag your followers, tag your friends so that they can see the show as well. It really helps us grow. I really do appreciate that in immense ways. Before we keep rocking and rolling here, because normie Democrats are starting to realize that things are not looking good. Things are not looking too good for them. Before we get to that, guys, head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. That's loudmajorityusa.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out our shop. That is the best way to support this show and everything we've got going on over here. Look at this. Look at this, baby. Look at the 250th anniversary collection of stuff we've got. I got to tell you, I think I'm really liking this one. I'm really liking this one today with the big old eagle right on the front. Giddy up, let's go. Got it available in every color, guys. You guys can go to loudmajorityusa.com. That's loudmajorityusa.com and use promo code RUMBLE to get 20% off everything on the website. That's promo code RUMBLE to get 20% off everything on the website. So normie Democrats are starting to realize that this Democratic Party has jumped the shark. I like to show you guys this all the time because the only kinds of people that call into C-SPAN are like your normie over the age of 70 voter. Because who the hell watches C-SPAN? Literally nobody. Here was just some normie Democrat who felt the need to call into C-SPAN to let the viewers out there know that after 74 years as a Democrat, they are done.
We go to Oklahoma, where Lawrence is on our line for Democrats. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. You know, I've been a Democrat all my life. I'm 78, and my folks were too, but this party has changed so damn much. It makes me sick. I'm going to move out of it. It's terrible, just like Schumer, he needs to be in a home, take Pelosi with him,
Lawrence, who was the last Democrat you voted for?
Pardon me?
Who was the last Democrat you voted for?
Last election. But like I said, I'm changing.
You voted for Kamala Harris?
Yeah, this is ridiculous,
Why did you
going around,
Why did you think Kamala Harris should win that election?
As a Democrat. I just a solid Democrat, like I told you my folks were too, and I'm just fed up. I'm moving, I don't know, independent or something's got to happen. I just wanted to make a comment, and thank you.
That's Lawrence in Oklahoma.
So this guy who as recently as 11 months ago voted Democrat is now saying I'm done. The Democrats have jumped the shark so badly in the last 11 months that just some normie guy out there saying, yep, I'm done with these freaks. I am done with these freaks. And people are starting to figure out that maybe, just maybe, the future looks pretty red. Jake Tapper went on some show I've never heard of, and he's like, I can't figure out why young people seem to be trending more conservative.
I think Gen Z is going to be a lot more conservative. I think that just from my experience knowing Gen Z kids, my kids and their friends and whatever, I sense a much more skepticism of, and I think it is a reaction to Gen Xers and millennials forcing on them progressive views in school.
Yeah.
I just think that it's not just that he is reshaping and remaking politics and normalizing things that weren't normal 10 years ago. I also think it is a reaction to the failures of progressive movements to achieve what they wanted to achieve, whether it's Bernie Sanders, whether it's Black Lives Matter, whether it's Me Too.
And it's the second part that Jake almost gets correctly. He's right there. He's so close. No, the reason why young people are trending more to the right is because we are projecting a positive vision of the world ahead. That you can do as well as your parents. That you can be better. Not that everything is racialized, not that everything is about who you're sleeping with or what you got between your legs. We're sitting there, we're presenting a positive message for the future. Why would any young person, look, if you're some like old hippie and all you care about is abortion, then yeah, sure. Absolutely, the Democratic Party is the party for you. But if you're like a 22-year-old guy out there and you're looking at, I don't know, women, as I think 22-year-old men are interested in. Last time I checked, I know there was like a decade there where we were told that we weren't supposed to like women, or we didn't really know what one was. And then when we did know what one was, we weren't allowed to talk to them because that made us toxic. When you look at 22-year-olds, when you look at 30-year-olds, when you look at 40-year-olds, when you look at 50-year-olds, they are way hotter if they are Republican. I cannot imagine why men are trending more in that direction. Or it could be Democrats' refusal to embrace reality. Their refusal to embrace reality. So much so that Gavin Newsom is still out there talking about the mental acuity of Joe Biden.
He is going to try to stay in office.
What I've noticed, what we all have experienced, I hope we're absorbing in our souls, because we're talking about the soul of America, is I don't think he takes himself seriously, but he iterates. He throws things out, and he plays with it, and he sees how people react, and it manifests, meaning once a mind is stretched, it never goes back to its original form. And that's my concern. The more we're talking about this, and we need to be, look at what he's doing with masked agents. Look what he's doing federalizing the Guard. Look what he's doing to intimidate and voter suppression. Look what he's going to do with the DOJ. Look what he's trying to do to rig the elections. North Carolina, Missouri, down there next Florida, not just in Texas. Look what he's doing in terms of the $230 million that apparently is from his DOJ. All the pardoning, all this great grift, the biggest, most corrupt administration in history. Not just the $400 million plane, but the $1 billion of your tax money as we're cutting food stamps to pay for the damn plane so he can take that toy home with his foundation when he's 93 or whatever he's done with his 4th or 5th term. I'm deeply concerned about it. And guys like Bannon, they're not screwing around. They're not screwing around.
So you think Bannon's not just messing with J.D. Vance's head?
I think
because part of it, I think, is
no, but
he
believes it. He believes it.
Yeah.
It's not just J.D. Vance, which is also part of it. But no, these guys have sort of a maniacal sense of purpose and desire for power. This is a revolution. Ian Brenner said it in his blog the other day. Ian's not prone to hyperbole. It's a revolution that's going on in this country. And I think you have to start using those words. He's attacking every single institution of independent thinking. And he's succeeding because we're still playing by the old set of rules.
I want to play you that again, but I want you to listen to the very, very beginning of what Gavin Newsom says Donald Trump is doing.
He is going to try to stay in office.
What I've noticed, what we all have experienced, I hope we're absorbing in our souls, because we're talking about the soul of America, is I don't think he takes himself seriously, but he iterates. He throws things out, and he plays with it, and he sees how people react, and it manifests, meaning...
Yeah, okay, so here's what happens. Donald Trump says a thing, he gauges public reaction, and then he does it. You mean like listening to the voters? You mean like listening to the American people? You mean like that? Is that what you mean, Gavin Newsom? Is that what you mean? Or is he out there attempting to rig elections like they're doing in the state of California? Because that's exactly what they're doing. And Democrats have continued to do it for quite some time. What do I mean by that? Well, Prop 50 in California is probably going to pass. It's probably going to pass over the course of the next week or so. Let's just be honest here. There's a lot of Democratic voters, and there's been a big push on Prop 50. But what is Prop 50? Well, the smartest man on the planet, Elon Musk, decided to go on the biggest show on the planet and explain to everyone exactly all of what is happening. Before we get to that, Old Glory Bank.
When big banks decide who gets access to America's financial systems and who doesn't, who do you think gets left out? Middle Americans who proudly wave their pro-America values. Cancel culture in banking is corrosive. It limits your participation in a vibrant, free market economy. Fortunately, you can fight back. You now have the opportunity to invest in the bank that's investing in a fair American banking system, one based in freedom. Ownership in Old Glory Bank, the pro-America online bank, is here. Old Glory Bank is a full-service FDIC-insured bank that's the alternative to overreaching, un-American big banks. We stand for privacy, security, and liberty. We stand for freedom, family, faith, and the flag. We stand for all the values you stand for, and for the values big banks can't stand. So help keep banking in the hands of Main Street, not Wall Street. To invest in Old Glory Bank, go to oldglorybank.com.
Guys, head on over to oldglorybank.com. That's oldglorybank.com. They've been a long-time supporter of the show. We really do appreciate you supporting them when you open up an account with the bank that supports your values and your privacy. Guys, head on over to oldglorybank.com. That's oldglorybank.com. So, Elon went on the biggest show in the world to use his big brain to talk about Prop 50 4 days before an election. It's an orchestrated stunt. Yeah, it is. Here's why.
And by the way, it's a strategy that, if allowed to work, would work. And in fact, has worked. California is supermajority Democrat.
Yeah.
And there's so much gerrymandering that occurs. It's crazy. So
I'm sure you're paying attention to this Proposition 50 thing.
No.
That's the thing in California where they're trying to redo districts.
Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, California's already gerrymandered like crazy.
Yeah.
They want to gerrymander it even more. And I mean,
because it keeps moving further and further right. Like, if you look at the map of California, each voting cycle, more and more people are waking up and going, what the fuck? And we need to do something to fix this. The only option available, other than the policies that you guys have always done, is go right. And so a lot of people have been, air quotes, red-pilled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then here's another thing that is very important, fact that is actually not disputed by either side, which is that when we do the census in the United States, the way the census works for apportionment of congressional seats and electoral college votes for the president is by number of persons in a state, not number of citizens.
Right.
It's number of people. So you could literally be a tourist, and you will count.
Now, how do they do the census when they do that? Do they ask people? Do they knock on doors? Do they have them fill out forms? Like what?
Yeah, I think they mail out the census forms and knock on doors. But the way the law reads right now, is that if you are a human with a pulse, then you count in the census for allocating congressional seats and presidential votes.
Right.
So, so
electoral college,
everything.
Congressional seats, everything.
It doesn't matter whether you're here legally, illegally, and if you're a human with a pulse, you count for congressional apportionment. So that means that the more illegals that California and New York can import by the time the census happens in 2030, the more congressional seats they will have. And the more presidential electoral college votes they will have. So they're trying to get as many illegals in as possible ahead of the census. And because all human beings, even tourists, count for the census. And then if you combine that with gerrymandering of districts in New York and California, as you point out with this proposition where they're trying to increase the amount of gerrymandering that occurs in California, the biggest state in the country. So if the census then would award more congressional seats to California because of a vast number of illegals, and New York and Illinois, so they'll get more congressional seats. They'll get more presidential electoral college votes. That would get them the House, a majority in the House, and they would get to decide who is president. Literally based on illegals. These are not disputed facts by either party. I want to emphasize that sink in.
Yeah, this is not a conspiracy.
These are not disputed facts by either party. It's not a. This is just the way the law works. It is a. I don't think the law should work that way. I think the apportionment should be proportionate to citizens.
Now, I'm sure it's absolutely it's not going to come as a shock to anybody that a few million people have seen that interview in the last couple of hours. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that there's an election in a couple of days. But hey, that's just Elon being Elon. Guys, it is 4 o'clock. I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in. Once again, guys, happy Halloween. I hope everyone has a safe and fun night. Make sure, guys, once again, I try to do this on every holiday that may involve alcohol. Guys, be smart, okay? Take the Uber home, pay the money, get home safe. Don't be stupid. Don't drink and drive, Drink all you want. Have a good time. But don't drink and drive. I will catch you guys. I'll catch you guys on Monday. Very good stuff. Monday, the day before Election Day. The day before Election Day, the day before we find out whether or not my illustrious city will die or what all will happen there. So, guys, Hannah Faulkner is coming up next right here on LFA TV. Until Monday, everybody, stay loud.